Hello, and welcome to Imperfectionist Stories. Today, we'll be reading from r/Muslim Lounge. Under the subreddit, Have You Had Jinn Experiences? Our first story comes from a user who has since deleted their account. Yes, when I was a child, I was at my aunt's house and everyone is asleep. It was just me, my aunt, boy cousins, and my brother at home. Me being the only girl out of the kids, got my own room to sleep in while the boys slept in another. It was late at night and I was trying to sleep when I kept getting woken up by a loud music and partying. I just shrugged it off and assumed my family woke up and decided to enjoy the night. But then I kept waking up, and growing more annoyed, I fully got up. But then I realized that the voices I was hearing were unfamiliar. I was too tired to notice before, so I got up and went downstairs. The light switch for the stairs were all the way down the stairs, so I walked in the pitch dark, trying to figure out what was going on. Then I realized, as I looked across the house, downstairs, nobody was there, and the noises and talking stopped as soon as I got down the stairs. I was then met with a chilling silence, and I didn't know what was happening, but I knew that something wasn't right. I was terrified at this point, and started running up the stairs, still in the dark at this point. And wallahi, I heard the floors creaked behind me as I was running back to my room. I stood at the top of the stairs, paralyzed in fear of something coming to hurt me. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it moving and sense its presence. As I stood there for what felt like forever, all of a sudden my aunt's adhan went off for Fajr, and all of a sudden I felt a relief and no longer felt the presence of whatever that was. Mind you, at this point I was maybe 8. Didn't know nothing about jinns, nor about the protection of the Quran, any of that. But I know what I experienced that day. I was so terrified that I literally climbed into bed with my little brother and didn't tell anyone what I saw for years. For a long time, I thought I was just a kid who made it up. But as a kid, I was never imaginative, and I know now what I saw. It was clear as day. I'm an adult now, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. One of the most spookiest moments of my life. Later on, I learned about the protection of the recitation of the Quran towards evil spirits. And I truly believe that if the adhan didn't go out right before whatever was chasing me would have gotten me, I would have been harmed. Alhamdulillah for Allah's protection, because I don't know what could have happened. Our next story comes from a user named Blooded Paradox. This is a long one. So first, I will talk about what led to this experience. So my grandma associates with a group of women that do black magic. From what I know, she still does. And she joins in. My grandma is obviously unaware it is black magic. So when I was a kid, I used to live in the flat, and my aunt used to come over quite a lot. She was not in the best of state, looking ghostly, ill, etc. Talking about weird stuff happening in her dreams while she stayed in that house. Occasionally she would sleep in the flat with us. As a kid, I would always take a glimpse at what she was looking at, as she used the computer in my room. My sister shared the same room as me, as it was a 2-bedroom flat. So I would tend to still be awake and see her researching a bunch of different weird looking symbols in Arabic that I have never seen. We were completely unaware that my grandma did black magic at the time, but my aunt kept finding these weird symbols on pieces of paper around the house, and would frequently show my dad and their brother. And my mom would always find it weird that my grandma would ask for pictures of all of her grandchildren. Years later, we found out that she was giving our pictures to some random supposed peer who would give us luck if he had our pictures. Fast forward 2 years later, while my dad is at his parents' house with my aunt and uncle, their brother, my grandma gets possessed by a Jinn, and my dad ends up calling up my mom on the phone at 2 a.m. Me being awake, still hear my dad freaking out while on the phone, telling my mom that grandma's been possessed and all you can hear is weird noises in the background. I don't like to think about it, but they weren't human sounds. My aunt and uncle both in fear and frozen in place. My dad had to read Ayatul Kursi and eventually went back to normal. From what my dad and uncle have said, it was like she was normal 1 minute, but the second they looked in the mirror and her sclera and pupils were just pitch black, she just completely started acting out of the ordinary. Now I don't know the slightest clue about possession or anything, but my dad came to the conclusion she could have been possessed for quite a while. Maybe for like a year, a few months, we don't know. And since nobody noticed she was possessed, it must have been acting normal until it got caught through the mirror. So after this, my dad thought it was gone, but eventually, a month or two later, my dad ends up trying to choke my mom in his sleep. And this is what I've seen with my own eyes. It was also around this time I would get dreams of me being forced upwards towards the ceiling and hung there and stuff, but this would be a recurring dream, the exact same one in the same environment of it being in this same room. I would keep being plagued by this same dream until I was 17. And well, my dad would quite regularly go to the imam at the local masjid to figure out why he did that in his sleep. He told the imam the whole story, and the imam said it probably never went away and just followed you home. I am an adult now, and nothing has happened since, and my mom did stop giving pictures of us to my grandma. And I've never really had dreams like that since my dad hasn't gone anywhere, since he is left traumatized by the whole experience and wishes to forget it, but things like this cannot really be forgotten. Please remember, these are stories from the internet, so be aware if they are true or not. And if you enjoy these stories, please like the video and subscribe. Jazakallah khair.